Hello, my name is Tori. I talk about personal growth and development. And today I wanted to come on and talk about what I've been seeing on social media and feeling a little bothered. Um, just a little bit. Okay, not much. But I think it's important as a mental health counselor, as a therapist, to give my 2 cents and my perspective about what I'm seeing online and on social media and the narrative or rhetoric that's going around that I don't find particularly helpful as therapists to be sharing when clients can do um, what what we're saying. So to be more specific, lately, I don't know if it's just because I'm a therapist, so that's part of my algorithm, but I am seeing a lot recently of therapists not complaining, not venting, but expressing how they feel about being a therapist, including using phrases like, I don't think people understand how hard it is to be a therapist. We're constantly holding other people's stories, and it's emotionally draining to, you know, hear so many people's like traumas and stories, and it's hard to shift each hour a different story, a different affect, and holding all these like this emotional weight for our clients essentially. And um, I'm not exactly sure that expressing that on social media is helpful. I think that that's something to take to your own therapy. It's natural to feel that way. We're only humans and there is a burnout and there is, you know, it is a job that's emotional and that is going to, you know, we're going to feel a certain type of way with our clients and what they bring to us. At the same time, I think that especially within our field, we have to be very careful of what we're putting out for people and for clients to see. Most of the time, I'll say, like, what made you feel like it was time to seek professional support? And more often than not, their response is, I don't want to be a burden to my friends and family. I feel like, I can't keep going to my friends and family and putting the emotional weight on them. If they start to see on social media that even their therapists, or even therapists in general, feel emotionally burdened, even if you're not using that word, burden, that's what it is. When you say emotional drain, it gives off that impression. And I don't, I also want to be careful not to shame counselors for feeling that way. Because again, it is natural and it makes sense. But I also don't think it's helpful to spread that. I think that we're also why I have a problem with certain things that are being said as professionals as well is this. I think that a lot of people a lot of therapists are misunderstanding our role. I'm also seeing a lot of discourse about like jokes that there might be truth to it of like, oh yeah, we got into this field because we like to fix people or whatever. I don't, that's not our role. Our role is not to fix people. Our role is to be witness to people's healing, to help them, to support them, to offer suggestions, to offer advice, to offer feedback. Us taking on and carrying the weight of whatever they're bringing to session it's our choice to take that beyond session. And if there's a lack of boundary there with, not taking your work home with you, it is something to continue to address in your personal life, because it is going to lead to burnout. It is going to lead to countertransference or misunderstanding or misrepresenting what your role is. And it's not good for you or the client, because then we will start to get this idea of we have our own goals for them. Then we start to have expectations. It's not on us to do the work for them. It's not on us to create goals that they don't have for themselves for them. That's not the purpose of counseling. It's not anyone's job to understand the counselor's experience. People don't have to understand or empathize with what we go through. Yeah, it would be nice, but as a professional, as a therapist, it's not anyone's job to be aware of what we go through or that we have to carry certain things for our clients. Everyone knows that. We signed up for this. We went to school for this. We invested in this. People know. So we don't have to continue to enforce this, especially on social media, to get some sort of support. And not every counselor feels that way. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like it's exhausting to go from one story to the next every hour. To me, that's what keeps it exciting. That's what gives me life and energy. And that's what keeps it fun for me and the job, is to be able to switch it up. And I understand every person is different, every therapist is different. And again, I'm not trying to shame anyone else for feeling that way. I think it's just a matter of, and not telling therapists they shouldn't feel a certain way, but being careful and mindful about where we're expressing those feelings. Because, yeah, we do deal with a lot of trauma. We deal with a lot of stories. We're managing risk. We're managing client safety. But clients are listening when we share these things on social media about how drained we are. It can unintentionally reinforce fears that clients already have about being a burden, and it can alter the client's sense of safety. There's a difference between I care about my clients, I'm present with them, and I want to help, versus I'm carrying the emotional weight for you. I'm carrying your pain with you, and that's emotional absorption. Essentially, in my opinion, that emotionally enables our clients, because it also kind of tells them, whether they realize it or not, that we don't trust them to carry their own emotional experiences on their own. We're allowed, and we should, be moved and affected by client stories. But when it comes to feeling like we need to fix them or solve their problems, that's more about us and our complex and our savior complex than it is about them. We are not responsible for fixing them. It's more telling about the boundaries that we still need to set emotionally on our own, in our own therapy, in our own personal life, to work on developing that healthy role and identifying the discernment of what actually is our role as professionals. Therapy is not about having goals for clients that they don't have for themselves, convincing clients to change when they're not ready, solving clients' problems for them, being more emotionally invested in their problems than they are, being more invested in client outcomes than they are, or needing to be the person that saves and heals somebody. It's more about being witness to their experience, creating a safe, attuned relationship that's boundaried. A lot of the time, you are going to be their first healthy relationship, and so it's important to example that, helping clients understand themselves better, be curious about learning about themselves, identifying their thoughts, emotions, identifying their needs and their goals, not projecting what we think is best on them, Because, yes, there's that to a certain extent, right? It has a limit. At the end of the day, we don't know them. We only know what they bring to session for the hour a week that we have them, if that. At the end of the day, we're not with them in their life. We're not part of their life. We only know what they tell us in that hour and can only do what we can do within that time. We're not responsible for their behaviors. We're not responsible for what they do outside of session. We have to trust that they know themselves better than we know them, of course. We have to trust in their ability. We have to trust in their capacity for growth. We have to trust that they can trust themselves and their decisions and their choices. And we have to respect their autonomy. We are not here, and I have to tell my clients that too, because some people come to therapy and they think that we're supposed to tell them what to do or that we could tell them how to live their lives and what choices to make. I tell them, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I can make suggestions, I can give advice sometimes, but it's really not my role to tell you what to do and to give you advice. It has to be framed as suggestion, and it's not my job to tell you what I think. I can only come from an educational lens of this might be helpful. I would suggest, I encourage you, and to reframe that dialogue to allow them to make decisions that's right for them. A good thing that I found helpful that I use sometimes is, what would the healthiest version of you think about this or do about this? And so that can kind of help them step into what that looks like for them. It's not up to us, and it's not fair of us to project our own goals and our own desires onto the clients, because then that's giving like, oh, I believe in your potential and not what you're actually bringing to the table. It's giving like, when you have a crush on someone or when you want someone to commit to you, you believe in their potential and you're not trusting what they're actually showing. And that's why at first, yeah, you might be doing more work than your clients at first because they might not know how therapy works or how it looks. And you might have to initiate a lot more of that work at first to prompt them. But once you're working with someone for a few months, it's important for us to recognize and take a step back so that they can step forward. Because when you realize that for an extended period of time, you're doing more work than they are, that's not helping them. That's enabling them. And then it's also burning us out. And I definitely don't want to sit here and be a hypocrite and judge people for feeling a certain way or for being really invested in their clients, because hopefully I assume that we're all coming from a place of just wanting to help, just wanting to support and be there and be that person. And I am so honored to be that person for people to be vulnerable with and to come to us for things that they don't tell anybody else. And we have a true responsibility, not only in session, but how we present on social media. And it is our job to practice what we preach. It is our job to utilize skills that we teach our clients, because in my opinion it is important to not be a hypocrite in this field. And yeah, a lot of therapists come from a background of mental health, of a recovery or a healing of their own. Most people do. And of course therapists don't always have to have it all together. That's not realistic, that's not fair. But it is important that we honor and take care of ourselves and notice when we have to set boundaries in this field and notice when we're taking on too much. And that's something that everybody, myself included, will always have to be aware of in order to remain ethical in our position. Clients have an incredible sense of resiliency and agency, and cultivating insight on their own. Once given the space and given the opportunity, even just having the space in itself is therapeutic. Even just having you and knowing that you're there for them weekly or whenever you see them, even that alone, just knowing that you're doing a lot just by being there. And so don't underestimate the power of the therapeutic process and what that gives to people alone. Does that mean that you shouldn't, do the work to challenge your clients and do no, use your discernment and take that with what you will. Um, Everybody's different, everyone's style is different, and channel that. That's the beauty of being an individual and being a counselor, is that everyone's style, as different as it is all necessary because we're somebody's cup of tea. But I just felt like it was really important for me to say that. It was on my heart. For some reason it's on my algorithm. So I'm like, you know what? I think that we really should just get back into the heart and the passion of why we started and not give ourselves too much work either. Like, we don't have to feel responsible for saving people. That's not what we're trying to do here. They are more than capable of saving themselves. And you get to be the person that watches the progress happen. Um, and I've also been noticing recently how much power clients have and are able to step forward when we step back and we make that room for them to come forward and do some of the work that we've been talking about. So I wish everyone luck, and definitely want to send encouragement to any therapist and any client. And I mainly wanted to make this for clients as well, um, because just to reassure you guys that not every therapist feels drained by their work. Not every therapist feels like weight. I know I don't. And I'm really hoping that there are other therapists, more therapists, that don't feel emotionally drained by this job. I get so much from this job. It gives me so much life. It gives me so much energy. And I don't feel like it's emotionally draining. Draining in other ways, like if their paperwork adds up or systematic things or, financial compensation. But in terms of sitting with people and hearing their stories and hearing their trauma, that does not drain me. Honestly, for me, the more difficult clients, the better. I like to be challenged. I like to challenge, and it gives me a lot more to work with. When clients have a lot that they're bringing to session, that helps me help them better because it's giving me a lot of things to address with them, and then I can help them better. And that excites me because I'm like, oh, okay, you're giving yourself a lot of information for me to kind of help you sort through it and figure out what you need from what you're giving me. Um, so that's just a little side note. But I will probably stop here. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next one.